like, what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Living Hope Agency call. I couldn't be more excited for tonight's call. Really, I want to talk about the 2023 Family First Life fall sales conferences that are coming up, and they're coming up all over the country. And I'm excited about this topic tonight because I think this is a topic that does not get touched on nearly enough. This is something that if everyone truly understood the power and the value of, they would actually, last in this business. They would build something of value and they'd be here a year from now. And there are so many basic principles that you hear on these calls and on all the YouTube videos that talk about how to succeed selling insurance. Okay. And obviously all of those principles, they can be learned. And I think that you guys can take comfort in the fact that there are thousands of people all over the country who've come before you that have figured this thing out, and they can teach you and they can guide you. And that there's someone out there right now that has either already experienced or is currently experiencing what you are going through right now. And by getting in front of those people, by asking the right question to the right person at the right time, anyone on this call, anyone in this business, you can have that light bulb moment that helps be the springboard for your success. Okay. Getting around the right people, hearing someone's story, of how they went from, bankrupt to financially stable, or how someone who was really successful in another industry saw the amazing opportunity that we have here. What it does is it builds your belief. Okay. And when we have high belief, when the struggles come, we can outlast in this business. We can persevere because this isn't easy, and we can persevere and find the success that we've been looking for. And I think that we can all develop, belief in our industry. We can all develop, belief in Family First Life as a company. Of course, we need to develop the belief in ourselves. And a lot of that comes from, repetition, learning the skills and mastering kind of the mindsets that are necessary to succeed in any sales. So really, with all that being said, all the things described, you can experience when you attend a Family First Life sales conference. Okay. And we have the cliche saying, events change lives. Even though it's super cliche and it's cheesy, it's 100% true. Whether it's the big national sales conference, or it's a big team meetup, or it's a local office meeting, or a lock-in, or a virtual meeting like tonight, getting around other people who have a common goal and a focus is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself and for your business. So the number one rule about major events is never miss a major event and never come alone. Very, very simple. Okay. So the key to learning every single skill and the principles that you need to succeed, and the cheat code really to building a team, is just to get yourself to events in person, get your people, if you're trying to build a team, plugged in, and the events will do all of the teaching, they do all the convincing, all the sorting, and all of the belief building for you. You don't have to do it yourself. And some of y'all, you're hearing this, intro to tonight's call, and you're hearing about the importance of events, why you should attend them. And some of you guys have already gone ahead and checked out. You're saying, well, I've been to an event before. I've been to events in other industries. I know why they're important. I don't really need to hear this. I probably don't need to take notes. Some people are probably on here thinking, oh, this is just a cheap way for Jamie to, promote the next sales conference coming up so the seats aren't empty. Yeah, that's definitely true. But these events are free. Nobody is making a profit from them. The events are for you to grow and for you to have breakthroughs. It's not for me. I get so much from these events, but it's not for me. It's for you. I'm not making any money off of it. Sean Mike's not making any money off. We're spending money to rent these hotel, conference rooms to throw these events to be able to pour into new agents. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick, and I will talk about some of the events that we do have coming up all around the country. So if you are on here, screenshot this image and let's find the city closest to you. Okay. So we have October 16th. We're going to be in Miami, Atlanta, and Nashville. And actually, I think those might be, maybe that's incorrect. All right. No, October 16th, Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Nashville. That is correct. October 19th, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, and Denver. October 23rd, we've got Phoenix, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and October 26th, Charlotte, Birmingham, and Houston. Okay. And I'm obviously going to talk about the event that our team is specifically hosting quite a bit, because I would love to see everybody on here, travel out to the event that we're hosting. Because again, you can go to any event, you're going to get so much value out of all of of them, but to be able to be in person with the people that you're working with on a daily basis is going to be that much more powerful. So the Miami event is going to be incredible. I believe that one's going to be hosted by Marco Conde and Steve Giordano. Steve Giordano was the #1 producer in Family First Life the last couple of years running, and Marco Conde has the fastest growing agency in all of Family First Life. So if you're around Miami, that's definitely going to be the spot for you to go. Orlando, that one's going to be hosted by a handful of agents, but I believe Marissa Mazziotti of FFL Inspire Group is hosting that one. Atlanta, John Wetmore, integrity partner, 4-time Hall of Fame producer. I'm not sure who's hosting Nashville, but Nashville is always a great conference as well. Baltimore, hosted by Frank Euphemia, integrity partner, Hall of Fame producer, head of our annuity and advanced market department or Simple Retirement Solutions. Boston is going to be headed up by Eric Schmidt. Again, I think he's also a 4-time Hall of Fame producer, integrity partner. Ivan Vedrov, integrity partner in Chicago. Dallas is going to be Rob Richmond. Dallas is going to be an incredible event. Highly recommend going to that one if you're near. Denver, Zach Tardowski. Zach's a legend in every way in this business, agency as well as producer. Phoenix is going to be hosted by Nina and Hayden Hill as well as Grady Polson. So if you're in that area, they always throw probably the best event, in my personal opinion. Las Vegas, Andrew Taylor, Stephen Yee, Alondra and Josh Crenshaw, 4 integrity partners. That one's pretty stacked. Los Angeles is going to be hosted by Trey Honeycutt, another integrity partner. Charlotte is going to be hosted by David Wichard and myself, and I'll brag on that event here in a moment. Birmingham, Michael Schroeds, and Houston, Zach Tardowski is hosting that one as well. So if you haven't already screenshotted it, real quick, go ahead, screenshot this before I take this off the screen. But these are going to be incredible events, 15 cities across 4 days. And every single one of them is going to be a little bit different. So everybody's going to have a little bit of a different experience, which I'm really excited about. So let's talk a little bit about, why these events. And actually, real quick, before we do that, I want to back up and let me brag on Charlotte here for a second before we get too deep into the weeds. So Charlotte, we are going to be there on October 26th, and we are going to have a lot of integrity partners in the house, which is going to be very, very exciting. So we've got Sean Mike, David Witcher, John Wetmore, Rob Richmond, Brent Abernathy, Frank Euphemia, Jordan Lowry, and myself. You can register by going to cltconference-ffl.com. Last time that we did this, it was an incredible event. Not only did we have, training from top producers, but we talked about building an agency. We actually had some of our top carrier reps, America Mutual of Omaha and Ethos, came out and did some product trainings. We broke out and did some incredible panels where we had newer agents getting up there and talking about their success stories. The Overcoming Objections panel was fantastic. And just the opportunity to build culture. It was an awesome hotel last time. We all got to grab lunch together in the middle of the event. So I highly recommend it. Again, this is where Living Hope and our agency are going to be pushing as many people as possible. So if you have a choice and you can't go to anything, go to the one closest to you or go to both. But I would really love to see y'all in Charlotte. This is a great opportunity for me to be able to, shake your hand, and you'd be able to shake hands with the people that you're live dialing with on a daily basis, the people you're going into battle with. I think that's important. We've got our live dial family, and having the opportunity to hang out with them in person, and just kind of, you'll kind of see as we go through some more of this content, why going to events, matters, at least to me, so much. So when I talk about why events, we've already kind of said it, events change lives. When I look back at every single time in my career that I've made a decision to go all in, it was typically at some sort of an event. There's usually some sort of an emotional impact that gave me some kind of heart or gut check that made me, make the decision to not look back anymore and just keep moving forward. And if you've ever, had this type of a moment at any event, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whether it was, you going to church camp when you were, in 6th, 7th grade, or, as you're at your solar convention, or you were at, a different business conference for network marketing, or you were at a Family First Life event, what that feels like when you have that heart or that gut check to go all in. And another reason is obviously the stories that you're going to hear. You typically are going to hear 2 different kinds of stories, and I think everyone relates to somebody differently. The first type of story that you'll hear is the if it can work for him, it can work for me kind of story. This is the underdog story. This is the person who typically came out of some level of adversity. They overcame some sort of hardship or some sort of learning curve to be successful here. You look at that person and you say, wow, If they can do it, there's no way I can't do this. At least for me, those are the kind of stories that have typically inspired me in the past, is if that person over there who's not that great, but great story, if they could do it, I could do it. That was important for me to build belief. And then the other type of story that you'll see here is if it's good enough for him or her, then it's good enough for me. Okay. So you've got, if they can do it, I can do it. Then you've got, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And this is when you have the successful business owner, when you have the doctor, the lawyer, the real estate agent, the mortgage broker, or whatever type of person that you think, probably was well off before they joined Family First Life, and they somehow see the value in this opportunity, and they provide some level of validation for everybody else that's already in a successful career, that if they're already a hard worker and they're already successful over there, if they came over here and they applied the same effort, how much more successful they could go out and be. So those are the kind of two different types of stories that you hear. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And if they can do it, I can do it. And both are great. I think that when you go to an event and you find somebody that you can relate to, it makes it real. I know, at least for me, I found somebody that I could relate to, a couple of people I could relate to early on. And that's what developed a lot of my, philosophy around how I sell. The people that I related to most, obviously Grady Polson, I've known him for well over a decade, but a guy named Paul McLean, another guy named Matt Smith. I listened to those three, and it developed, and then Zach Tardowski, after I got to know him a little bit too. I listened to those four people and just kind of took little bits and pieces from each person and developed my philosophy, not just around how I sell insurance, but also how I build a business. I looked at them and I said, those are the people that are the most like me. Those are the people that I can relate to the most. And that's who I want to learn from. So I'm going to find every single YouTube video that has their name in it, and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it over and over and over again. And then obviously when I got a chance to meet them in person, I realized they weren't that great. They just had 3, 4, 5, 6 years on me. That's about it. They had about 20,000 dials on me. They had about 10,000, appointments, and they had about 2,000 no-shows on me. That's about it. That's all they had. They had time and repetition, and they just had been through it a little bit more, but none of them were actually that great. They're all fantastic people, but none of them, Sean always jokes around. He's like, I would love to have every single Hall of Fame producer and integrity partner take an IQ test just to see what would happen, because you'd probably be mind blown that some of the people at the top are not where you think they are, so none of us are really that smart, but we're pretty damn committed. And when you get a chance to get around people, that's where some of those things come through, and you just go, wow, I don't have to be that smart. I just have to be that committed. And the light bulb goes off, and then you get that committed, and the results start to come. So that's when it can become real. Another thing is obviously just the relationships that you can make. I found mentors at events. I've found running partners. I've found friends at events. I've met people that have become some of my best friends. I've met people at events who, ended up standing in my wedding, people who, we're going to go on family trips with, over the time of our life, as we're all having kids. Like, I've met those type of people at events, and relationships made at these events. Sometimes, I even look at like live dials, the relationships that are built on live dials. Sometimes those relationships end up being the reason why you don't quit. Which is a pretty big deal. They're the reason why you're able to outlast others, because now it's not just about you and yourself trying to figure this out, but now you're part of a community who we're all trying to figure it out together. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And another reason for events, obviously, I think this is big, especially anybody who works full time, is the ability to have focused attention. Focused attention. So what does that mean? I mean, you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're leaving your home. You're going to a place where, your wife and kids, your husband, your family, whoever, they're not there. You're going to a place where your job and the worries and your financial ruin, whatever's going on, it's not there. You can have 100% focused attention. All of us have lives. All of us have families, other jobs, other responsibilities, other, anxieties that are coming in. And when we're doing this business daily, we kind of have to keep all those little cares and those little worries, at an arm's length, and they come up and they keep us from focusing on the business. Like, I'm at the office right now, and I'm texting my wife, and she's like, hey, there's mold under the sink. I'm like, there's mold under the sink. Crap. What are we going to do about that? I can't even focus on that right now because I'm doing a team call. It's like the little things. Hey, I'm working from home today, and I hear 2 kids crying in symphony, and I'm like, okay, she's having a hard time. I should probably go down there and change a diaper or something before I come back up. It's the little things of life that keep us from 100% focusing on our business. And those things, a lot of them are all blessings, but they still take away from our focus. So coming to an event, getting out of your backyard, going somewhere, especially if it's out of your city, out of your state, you're able to have 100% focus. And sometimes it's the first time that you've ever had 100% focus. When you come to an event, when you travel, you're leaving all those things at home. And for some of you, again, coming here will be the first time you've ever dedicated 100% focus to this business with no other cares and no other worries. And obviously, you know, you're going to learn a lot when you're able to do that. Not just the skill sets, but the mindsets, the word tracks, the scripts, the structures, the ways to think about things. You know, you can hear somebody who's come before you and you can learn, you know, everything you need to learn to succeed in this business. And I think a lot of this info is all out there already. You know, we do have a boot camp. We do have YouTube. We do have podcasts. Like, it's not to say that like any of this info is going to just be earth shattering. Maybe it's the first time you've heard it. Probably not. But for some reason, when you get in person, you might hear it just a little bit differently. That's typically what happens. You know, so no one's here trying to like trick you about like, hey, the secret knowledge of how you can close any person at any time, anywhere. That's already out there. You could learn all that if you actually just got really obsessed with everything that we already have. But something about getting in person, there can be an emotional impact in person to make the information you've already heard a dozen times really kind of stick for the first time. Last couple things we'll kind of touch on. We're going to keep tonight's call pretty short. There's something out there called the event ladder. Okay, the event ladder. So think about a ladder. At the top of the ladder is the national convention. At the bottom of the ladder is going to be like a call like this. So you've got webinars and calls. You've got local office type meetups, lock-ins, etc. You've got regional type of events. And you've got national conference. Okay, and I kind of tell people that you're not really in the business until you've attended every single event on the ladder, until you've gone from the calls to the local events to the regional events. And kind of where we're at on the ladder right now is these are the big regional events that are coming up to push us towards the national convention in Dallas, which is obviously the big one. And again, I don't really feel like you have given it a fair shake until you've worked your way through the event ladder. So that's my advice, is hit every single one of those rungs on the ladder. And if you actually take it seriously, the things that you learn, if you apply it, I'd be surprised if you didn't have some incredible results. So I think it's obvious to say that if you were ever going to build a team and not just sell, that it would make a lot of sense to just get your new people to events so that it can do all the things for them, instead of you having to feel the pressure of, oh man, I'm still learning, I need to teach them everything. You just make the decision to get them on the webinar, to get them to the local event, to get them to the regional sales conference, to get them to the national conference, and it'll most likely change everything for them, just like it's going to do for you. And obviously, the more people you get to an event, if you are trying to build a team, some people aren't, but a lot of people are, the more volume your team will do, increase your override, increase your bonuses. I think we have one general rule of thumb, is that for every 10 people that you get to a major event, typically you're going to help about 100 families as a team. If you get 10 families to an event, you're going to help about 100 families moving forward for the next couple months. So if you want to be a board member, which is helping 1,000 families a month, you get 100 people to an event. I know people who help 1,000 families a month, they got 50 people on their team. Numbers aren't perfect. I know people who have 300 people on their team and they only help 500 families a month. Numbers aren't perfect, but on average, what I've seen is typically for every 10 people you bring to an event, you guys will help as a team about 100 families on average. If you want to get your logo, 100 families, get 10 people to the event. If you want to be a vice president and start getting your manager vice president bonus, get 15 people to the event. The goal should be obviously to get to the event, but then what's next? Next event's obviously convention. You bring 10 people to this event, and then what are we doing? We're all talking about Dallas. We're all talking about sharing rooms together. We're talking about getting flights. We're talking about the big one. We're talking about growing. We're talking about duplicating. So from event to event to event. And again, if you want your new agent to be here and not quit in 60 days, you got to be looking at what you can plug them into next and what you can plug into next. Webinars and local events, they're really easy, but the out-of-state events are the ones where when people come up with all kinds of excuses on why they can't go. And sometimes when you can overcome some of those excuses on why they can't attend those events, you end up helping them overcome some of the excuses of why they can't hit a new level in their business, why they can't sell more, why they can't build whatever that is, because now you've helped them overcome something to get to the event. Maybe, you're the person who's been to all the local events, but you've never been to a national one. I think it would be smart for you to hear from some different voices, meet some different people outside of your backyard. Obviously, that's a big one. But a lot of people, especially if I'm like, hey, you're in Michigan, come to Charlotte. Hey, you're in Arizona, come to Charlotte. Hey, you're in Florida, come to Charlotte. You're in Dallas, come to Charlotte. A lot of people are going to say, well, I can't. I don't have the money. I can't afford it. And I hear that excuse all the time. Doesn't matter what event it is. And what I hear is somebody that doesn't have confidence that the information that they're going to receive is going to actually help them learn the skill set to make money at will. That's what I hear. They don't believe that they can be a sponge to that information and actually apply it. They believe they're going to go to the event, they're going to walk out, and nothing's going to change. Because if you actually truly believed that the information you're going to get applied would help you start crushing it, then you spend any dollar amount to go to any event. Anybody who learns, the basic skill on how to sell simplified issue life insurance, you felt kind of like this power of like, man, I can make money at will. It just comes down to how hard I want to work. How many dials do I want to do today? It's 100% on me. Yeah, there's some days I don't feel like working hard, but if I can get over that, I can truly make money at will if I'm willing to do the work. So if I know how to sell simplified life insurance, I know that regardless of how expensive the travel is, regardless of how last minute it is, I could tell you the event's 2 days from now. I could tell Drake, hey, Drake, the event's tomorrow, and it's going to cost you $1,400 for a middle economy seat on Spirit to be able to get out to this event. And he'd look at it and he'd say, okay, regardless of how last minute it is, we have the best business in the world. We get paid on an advanced compensation plan. And if I go out and I help 1 to 2 families tonight, I'll get paid the next 24 to 48 hours and I'll be good. He goes, okay, I got that. I'm just going to dial for a few more hours tonight. But I'll buy the flight at midnight. I'll be out there tomorrow by, 2 p.m. and I'll, speak at the 3 p.m. and I'll be back. He doesn't care. So some people, they will literally spend their last dollar to get to and from an event. Those who understand the importance of events, they're extremely teachable. They truly believe that they can learn the information needed to go to the next level. And here's the key. They don't ever ask, what does it cost? They ask what it's worth. Okay, what does it cost versus what is it worth? Okay, Drake spent a bunch of money in this business. He's now like our newest, top producer who's crushing it. First 90 days helps 100 families. Like if there's anybody you guys should be watching out for, is him right now. Teachable, spent money and time to figure out how to get there. And now if you take him and you stretch him out over the course of a year, he's going to be helping 400 or 500 families a year on his own personal pen. So I ask people all the time, what is it worth versus what does it cost? Most people are too busy worrying about the travel expenses, the time required. What does it cost versus how much they're going to get out of it? And if I could tell you that if you committed to going to a major event, you made a goal to go to every major event on the event ladder, that eventually you'd help 400 families a year, average commission being $1,000 a family. So you deposit 300 to 400 grand next year if you committed to do all of these things. And you had a team helping 150 families a month with an override on that. That was about 10%. Would it be worth it? Yes. But for whatever reason, we have people who they have fear of how it's not going to work.
Yeah, he's the one with the 2 dogs.
So I think that at the end of the day, my question would be, what is it costing you not to go? What is it costing you not to plug in? How many more years, and this might sting a couple people who've been here for a while. How many more years do you want to be mediocre at selling insurance? How much longer do you want to be mediocre at selling insurance? It doesn't have to be that much longer. Like, it's all about condensing time frames. Again, I'm just gonna keep on putting praises on Drake because he's such a good team player. But like, he condensed time frames. Rather than saying I'm going to do 100 appointments over the course of the next 8 months, he said I'm gonna do 100 appointments over the next 6 weeks. Like, I'm gonna find a way to condense the learning curve as much as possible so I can squeeze it in, because I understand what it's worth. I understand what's on the other side. And now you look at him and he's dropping huge premiums And 120 days ago, 6 months ago, he had a lot of skill sets, but he didn't have this one. But now he's got this new skill set in his tool bag, in his armory, and he can pull it out at any time. And he can buy some leads and he can go to work and he can put up 10 families if he's willing to put in the work. What a cool thing. So I think a big thing here, we'll kind of start ending this and kind of landing the plane is, I honestly don't see anyone lasting here for more than a year to 2 years if they don't have some sort of a breakthrough in probably like their first 3 months. I really don't. I know people who they're still here, but they're just surviving. Surviving is no way to be in sales. This could be the best sales career on the planet, or it could be the absolute worst sales career on the planet. You could take two different people and they both go out and they make, 200 families this year. And one of them's 50 grand in the bank. And the other one's 50 grand in debt. That can happen. You take somebody who goes out and they absolutely crush it and they help 400 families this year. And then you got someone who helps 40 families this year. It can be the best sales career on the planet. It can be the worst. You can be desperate every single month to pay your bills, and you could have that in any sales career. It doesn't matter if you're selling solar, pest control, books, door to door, cars, if you're selling crypto courses and digital marketing, high ticket sales offers. You can be swinging for the fences, looking for a home run every single month, like selling out of desperation, or you can be calculated. You can be methodical about it. You can be tactical. You can be predictable, because you're consistent and you've proven the skill set and you decide to stay consistent. And now you've got predictability of cash flow, which is something a lot of salespeople don't have. So you got to have that breakthrough as soon as possible. And I think like a lot of people quit very quickly. And how do we prevent that from happening? It's by helping people find success quickly. We help people protect themselves from themselves by showing them the value of plugging in and what it could be worth for their business and how it could speed up their learning curve to profitability and growth. Save you from yourself. Don't be a lone wolf. Don't be a lone agent. Plug in, be near the campfire. The campfire is pretty great. I'll talk about that here in a second. So last couple things, it's free. Everything we do is free. We could absolutely be charging thousands. Like I came from the digital marketing world and I know people who charged tens of thousands of dollars to teach you how they did what they did. Some guy goes, hey, I'm going to run Facebook ads. I'm going to teach you how to run Facebook ads. All you got to do is get 10 chiropractors to pay you $1,000 a month to run their Facebook ads, and you'll be making $10,000 a month. But in order to learn my system on how to do that, you got to pay me 10 grand for that information. Then I'll teach you how to make 10 grand a month. We don't do that. Everything's free. So you guys get to hear from the top speakers, and the top speakers in our company are the top producers in our entire industry. That's a fact. If you go look at what the average Family First Life agent makes in a year versus the average life insurance agent, it's like our average agent makes 7 times more than the average agent anywhere else. And the average agent in life insurance doesn't make much at all. But our top speakers are the top producers in the entire industry. Different vendors will be at these events. So we will have a booth for, Lead Champ Pro at the Charlotte event. So that'll be a great time to come ask questions. Carriers, lead companies, technology companies, anybody who partners with us, they show up to these events. We give them a chance to speak and help you grow your business. So long and short of it is, I do whatever it takes to make it to an event near me. If you want to be a part of the team culture and the campfire of what we're building here at Living Hope, come to Charlotte. We'll welcome you in with open arms. Drake, I'm just going to invite you right now. If you come, I got a 15-minute speaking slot for you, bro. So come on out to Charlotte. But stay plugged in, plug other people in. It's as simple as that. And if you would be, obviously willing to leverage the existing systems that FFL already has in place, you can explode your business, learning to promote, the value of events to other people, knowing that the big events, they're non-negotiable for you to be here a year from now. And obviously the goal is not just to be here a year from now, barely surviving. The goal is for you to be here a year from now, thriving, having the best year financially that you've ever had. the campfire effect says the closer you are to the campfire, the warmer you are. The further you are from the campfire, the colder you are. And if you get too far from the campfire, you will freeze and die. Staying plugged in is obviously the key here. Staying close to the campfire and bringing as many people around the campfire as you possibly can. So I encourage you to register. Of course, you can go find all the registrations for all those events. If you need them, reach out to me. But our Charlotte event is again, CLT conference-ffl.com. Register. It's free. Hope to see a bunch of new registrations popping in. We still have some appointments happening tonight. It's still early. It's only 2:37 over on the West Coast. So lots of people are still running appointments. So stick around. Here's some live appointments. I hope everybody has an amazing night. And we will see y'all at an event near you. Have a good night, guys.